Glenn Greenwald, CNN dodging serious ethics and journalism questions. Are we really that surprised by this? About Lanny Davis fake news scandal. Holy shit, is this blowing up in CNN's face right now? Guys, we have already reported on the original story about this. It was about 3 days ago. I will put a link at the end of this video, if I remember, to that video so you can go and check that out. But the CNN is getting a lot of pressure at the moment regarding this, to the point where I've actually gone and made a poll on Twitter and Gab. Obviously, go and check those out, where I've asked, should CNN be banned for spreading fake news? Should they be removed from social media platforms because they've gone through and spread fake news, and that's what they wanted Alex Jones banned from? Go and vote.
Good for the goose.
Is good for the gander. Exactly. Go and vote on those, guys. I'd really love to see people's reactions. God, if we could get that poll trending, it'd be great too. But let's jump into this story. CNN is under fire, even more scrutiny on Tuesday as The Intercept's Glenn Greenwald unloaded a major story about the network's public relations officers at the direction clearly of management and refusing to be transparent about fake news scandal that has engulfed the network and tarnished one of the journalism's all-time great leaders, Carl Bernstein of Watergate fame. So, an explosive piece laying out the landscape of an ethnic minefield through of which CNN is navigating poorly. Glenn Greenwald, in the headline of the story, accused CNN of lying to its audience in a piece authorized by Brett Stein, former Barack Obama administration official and CNN chief national security correspondent Jim Soto, and CNN researcher Marshall Cohen. CNN credibly accused of lying to its audience about a key claim, and its blockbuster Cohen story refuses to comment. So, as Breitbart News has reported, the entire core of the piece from July from Bernstein, Sorato, and Cohen is entirely fake news. CNN reported using anonymous sources that Michael Cohen, President Trump's former president attorney, to just plead guilty to a number of charges brought by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, was willing to testify that President Trump knew in advance of a summer 2016 meeting between several Trump officials and Russian attorney with Kremlin leaks. Cohen's own attorney, Lanny Davis, later undercut the narrative, publicly claiming on the record nearly a month later that it was not true. Then Davis is then admitted to he was the source for the CNN story and that he had provided inaccurate information to the network. This is where Greenwald zoned in on his story, raising serious ethics and journalism questions about CNN's conduct and handling this. While CNN refuses to answer whether its own sources other than Davis to back up its claim, it appears not to have had them. Greenwald writes that CNN's claims the original article about which Davis declined to comment was when he was in fact a source for the story on an anonymous basis is extraordinarily troubling. So, what's more, Greenwald has said that he's mentioned only one or two things that can be true. Either Davis is lying to BuzzFeed when he claims that he was an anonymous source for the CNN piece, or perhaps more likely, CNN deliberately lied to its audience about Davis refusing to comment on the story when in fact Davis was the one of the anonymous sources in which the CNN reportedly depended, and the CNN claimed Davis refused to comment in order to hide Davis's identity as one of their anonymous sources. How can CNN possibly justify to address the questions and then refrain from informing the public about these critical matters on the story that themselves hyped for days as a blockbuster, one of the most significant stories yet in the Trump-Russia saga? Greenwald wrote, questions about this massive discrepancy from The Intercept to Shelter to not have been answered, nor has CNN addressed this on air with any other media outlet who have inquired. Darcy told The Intercept he was not aware of sources issuing on the story and suggested inquiries be directed to CNN's Public Relations Department. Whew. Greenwald goes on writing that if CNN did in fact lie about Davis refusing to comment when it was an anonymous source for the piece, which appears to be the case, this is obviously a major journalism scandal. The piece goes on to explain that despite CNN being only place that can trust... The piece goes on to explain that despite CNN being the only place that can truly inform the public, the network is silent on this matter, yet CNN, the only ones with the ability to inform the public about what happened here, is silent, Greenwald writes. This depicts the incomparable importance which CNN breathlessly told its viewers the story carried. Greenwald then includes a video where CNN breathlessly pushes the fake story in July. But if CNN were truly interested in informing the public and reporting the truth, no matter what it would be, this would not Jeff Zucker, the network president, and make the reporters the byline available for interview on the matter. Repeated press inquiries to CNN spokeswoman Emily Dunn and Lauren perhaps might be mispronouncing, asked for interviews with Bernstein, Salato, and Cohen, and the three on the byline for more information on the matter have gone unanswered. And reportedly, CNN is standing by this story. So, what's the takeaway from all this? What's the breakdown? What's the guts? So, CNN have used a source which has later backtracked that statement, but CNN is refusing to remove or to take down the story due to the fact that we don't know. They won't answer the question. So at the end of the day, they know it's a fake story. This story has been debunked. The person who was literally the source for the story has admitted that he was the source. He's admitted that it was fake. He's admitted it was wrong, but they're still leaving the story up and they're not retracting it.
I have an idea. Let's try and start a hashtag on Snopes to actually call out this story and set it to false.
Oh boy, that won't happen. You know that, won't you? Snopes will be like, no, this is a true report that the CNN isn't lying, and then at the end of the paragraph they'll say, oh, by the way, this report from CNN might be false. But yeah, I don't know. You reckon we could get that? Get Snopes to take notes? We should
try.
Be interesting.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll send out a tweet later if you guys want to retweet it. But like I say, look, at the end of the day, and like I said, look, this is where my poll obviously goes through and asks the important question. If they try and remove Alex Jones because it's fake news, well, what about your own? What about your own station? Should CNN be removed from social media platforms? Should they have their Facebook, their Twitter, their YouTube channel all deleted? Well, you know.
They don't have much social media reach, the numbers. But, you know, still, fake news is fake news. You know?
True. Good for one, good for the other. And like I say, guys, obviously these two tweets, if you want to go through and retweet them and vote on them, who knows? Maybe we can get CNN to back off the Conservatives a little bit. Which is why I'm mostly doing it. It's mostly to say, well, hey, if you're going to push this narrative, we will push it too. So, yeah. It's funny because no one's voted on this poll, and I normally get at least a couple of votes. So it's weird how no one's voting on it. It's like it's been buried. What do you reckon?
Well, it's one of two things: shadow banning, or just that Twitter is a buzz at the moment for something else going on.
Yeah. So a couple of people have actually responded. Someone actually responded saying there was no option for no network should ever be removed from social media. Which,
that's true. No network should be removed. That's true,
yeah,
I guess.
Unless
they're breaking the law.
Yeah, which I agree with Sensible Millennial when he says that. I'm going to respond to that and say I totally agree with you, but they have removed Alex Jones. So, yeah. So we have got 3 votes at the moment. 67% saying yes, remove them. 33% saying just show the results. So yeah. But look, at the end of the day, yeah, I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I can take a guess as to why CNN doesn't want this removed off their news story, because it's sort of like they're clinging to fame for the Russian narrative. They start removing this.
If they remove it, it confirms its falsity.
Yeah, if they remove it, they've still got nothing. Like, at the moment, people turn around and say, "You've got nothing!" And CNN can now turn around and say, "No, we've got this." And
if this is a hill they want to die on, I can at least say that good on you, I guess, for standing up for what you think is right, even if it is so wrong.
But do they think it's right, or do they know it's wrong and they just don't want to, admit it?
Well, yeah. If they want to die on a hill, this may as well be the hill they die on.
Well, I suppose it's better than some of the other hills they would have died on, I suppose. But anyway, guys, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.